The Australian government-owned TV station, the ABC, is currently airing a political commentary program called Planet America. The hosts John Barron and Chaz Licciardello give the latest news from the USA, including the news on the current elections. Most of the political commentary is dedicated to Mitt Romney, Newt Gingrich and Rick Santorum. The only time Ron Paul is ever really mentioned is to say that he isn't worth mentioning because he doesn't really stand a chance. At one point, Chaz mentions an incident in which Rick Santorum raises the issue of voting fraud over one of his votes. I want to know why they don't mention the blatant voting fraud that is happening against Ron Paul right now. If someone like me can easily find this evidence, why can't the real journalists find it? If Ron Paul himself is asking questions, you would think they would take it a little bit seriously.
I don't have any proof of my theories.
What's your theory?
Because sometimes we get thousands of people like this and we'll take them to the polling booth and we won't win the caucus. So, you know, a lot of our supporters are very suspicious about it. But the straw votes have been very confusing. I mean, you've probably read in the paper about what happened up in Maine. I mean, there's just a lot of confusion. They said, well, let's have a recount. They said, well, we can't have a recount. They just write these numbers down on pieces of paper and we throw them away afterwards. So it's that kind of stuff that makes you suspicious because, quite frankly, I don't think the other candidates get crowded like this. And we get them constantly, you know, thousands of people coming out. And, I mean, you would get the perception that we would be getting a lot more votes. But we're going to get to delegates, and the delegate hunt is on, and that is a lot more difficult to, you know, get careless with the numbers because each individual knows what their responsibility is, and they work through the caucus system, and so far we're getting good news on that.
And you've always appealed to the youth voter, but more recently, and I'm thinking of Super Tuesday, it doesn't appear to be the case that you've actually drawn those people in. According to a tough study that was released this week, the Circle study, in 5 Super Tuesday states, you attracted no more of the youth vote than Rick Santorum. What is happening to your base? I know your advisors have been out and publicly saying that, you know, the outpour that you see in the rallies, the support that you see among the youth vote is not translating at the polls. Mm-hmm.
Well, you have to read all the stories about how they count the votes, too, to be fair, because there's a lot of things going on. We can put 4,000 people in a precinct and come up with 2,000 votes, and we actually know where our votes are. So we have a lot of things to contend with, not only the philosophy and the challenge to the status quo, but we also have to challenge the system that can't bear the thought that we would get a lot of credit for what we're doing.
Well, Congressman Paul, listen, it's been a very serious interview.
Who joins us this morning from his district in Clute, Texas. Congressman, you made a long flight to be with us this morning from your home state. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
I want to ask you something. You came very, very close to beating Mitt Romney in Maine yesterday. Our estimate is he's going to get 8 delegates there. You're going to get 7. But I know this was one that you really wanted to win. Where do you go now?
Well, you know, our numbers on the delegates are much different because the process has only started and we're in a very good position to win a good majority of those votes. But, you know, we were a little bit disappointed last night, but we were disappointed that the one county where we have done the best in the past and we were expected to do the best, they canceled their caucus. So we did very well up there, but we're going to continue to do what we do and do the very best and keep accumulating delegates.
Somebody called and asked, this was before you got on, they said, would you please ask Dr. Paul if he's been able to find out if his votes have been tampered with? He's referring to Maine and Iowa.
I think they have, but I don't have the proof to take them to court. I think Nevada, there's pretty good evidence. I do think, but I don't think it's a grand conspiracy. But I think that we find a lot of resentment from local Republican leaders, and they might have 100 show up at their caucus meetings traditionally, and 200 Ron Paul supporters will show up. and they really are annoyed. They don't want these young people coming into the party. It's our party, you know. It's a club, and they don't like it. So they do not want to see the credibility of these votes, that they do everything possible. And I've heard so many stories about how the votes get manipulated. But as far as evidence goes, and as far as trying to prove anything, I have enough things to worry about. I'm trying to stop another war in Iran right now, rather than pursuing that. I wish some people would. The ones who know about it, they ought to pursue this and see if they can, whatever they can document.
Fortunately, people have been doing exactly this. People from all over the USA have been uploading videos demonstrating the outright voting fraud that is taking place during the 2012 election process. Among these people are a group of lawyers and paralegals who are filing a civil rights lawsuit against voting fraud.
The purpose of this video is to give you a brief overview of the civil rights lawsuit being filed by Lawyers for Ron Paul and electionfraudremedy.com. We're a community of independent grassroots legal activists comprised of lawyers, paralegals, and concerned citizens, and we're filing a lawsuit against various state GOP parties and the Republican National Committee for voting rights violation and election fraud committed during the 2012 Republican presidential primary election phase. Why is this lawsuit necessary? We're preparing this lawsuit for our legal and physical protection. We have overwhelming evidence that the voting rights of Ron Paul Republican delegates and voters have been violated by nearly every state GOP party and the RNC during the 2012 primary election phase. The patterns of abuse have devolved to those of an organized criminal enterprise with utter and blatant disregard for any rule of law. As time marches on in anticipation of the National Convention, the severity of abuse is escalating. We need to take legal action to enforce our rights and to protect ourselves from further, more serious abuse. Without this lawsuit, the pattern of abuse is guaranteed to get much worse, to the extent that the delegates who attend the National Convention will be subjecting themselves to the risk of legal peril, and Ron Paul will be guaranteed to lose the nomination without our legal intervention. What steps do we need to take to participate? To be a part of this effort, go to electionfraudremedy.com and become a free member. After joining, log in and go to forums to submit your testimony on our private secure forum according to the state or territory in which you live.
On the eve before the GOP Illinois primary, one must ask, how the heck does SGT report have election results for a Republican primary in Illinois which is yet to even take place? Now, we've long argued that the Ron Paul fix is in, but it leaves me speechless. Posted tonight, Monday, March 19th, on the website of the Chicago ABC News affiliate WLS-TV are the following election results, clearly labeled Illinois races, federal offices. Now, if we have this wrong, please do let us know why this information would exist in any form 24 hours before the primary. Or if we are indeed living in a banana republic, copy that. You now have our blessing to move out of this stinking country.
At this time, we will have the reading from the Nominations Committee.
Marvin Brown and James Garland.
I move the slate be accepted.
Second. Say
aye.
Division. Division. Chair. The ayes have it. Division.
Division.
The ayes have it. Division.
I call to question the chair. An appeal from the decision of the chair.
Second. Second. Business to discuss. The convention's now closed. Division. I'm sorry.
Can you count the ayes?
Violating state party rules.
The list is present at this time.
And you are jeopardizing all of the delegates from this precinct.
If you have any questions, feel free to discuss this with the Georgia GOP Secretary, John Padgett. Thank you all for coming, and we'll be in touch.
And the Secretary said of the state of Georgia said he would be available to answer questions. I'd like to talk to him. I think we should all go talk to him.
Mr. Padgett, can we please speak with you?
can.
Yes.
Not with that on.
Why not?
Not because I said not with that on.
Well, we're in a public place, so we're going to leave it on, sir.
Thank you.
Could you tell
I'm
me?
in a public place
That's
too,
fine.
so-
You can keep walking, and I'm going to keep talking. Could you tell me why the chairman of our meeting did not call for head count and division count when it was asked for? Did not call for a standing count and closed the meeting illegally without a 2/3 majority vote, as the states in your own party rules. You are the secretary of the GOP. You know the rules, sir.
You would need to discuss that with him.
I would need to discuss that with him, but I can't because he closed the meeting and ran off. You said it during the meeting, you invited us to speak to him. To you after the meeting. Is that not correct, sir?
I'm telling you what to do. You need to.
I will be glad to speak to him, but I would like to know on behalf of the Georgia Republican Party.
Really nice meeting.
Please don't touch me. On behalf of the
Well,
Georgia
let me tell you,
Republican Party,
we've had the end of
how
this. Thank
can
you.
you stand there and smile when you know that the rules were broken? And you know that you just jeopardized the delegates for this entire county. The rules were broken. We called for a division.
So are you claiming to not know the rules?
Are you saying not claiming to not know the rules of the Republican Party? Because I have them right here.
There's the chairman right there. That's him.
I would like to know why there was not a head count when we called for division.
It's obvious we called for division, sir.
It's obvious we called for division. It's obvious that you needed a 2/3 vote to close. You had no debate. You ignored calls from the floor, blatantly disregarding GOP rules. Are you going to answer, sir, or are you just going to walk away? Because this will be submitted to whoever will take it, including news organizations.
Lots of them.
Is that how the Republican Party runs their...
Hey, you know what? Talk to Matt.
Talk
He
to...
is the
I'll be glad to talk to Matt.
We're trying to talk to everybody.
We're trying to talk to everybody. Since the Republican Party doesn't want to take responsibility for not following the rules. Matt ran, our chairman ran, because he knew he broke the Republican rules. How can you expect people to respect your party?
Do me a favor. Send it to me in writing.
I'll be glad to send it to you in writing.
Believe us.
Sir, you will get it in writing.
You're going to get audio, video, and writing.
Sorry. Yeah, it's on now.
Hi, I'm Lori Bone. I'm in Clark County, Georgia, and we just had a GOP meeting, which was done illegally when they nominated their slate. They did not allow for discussion. They did not allow a 2/3 vote. They adjourned the meeting without a vote. They ignored calls from the audience for a division. They ignored calls for a standing count. They ignored calls for, what's the one where you...
Points of order.
Points of order. I called the chair. I wanted to appeal to the ruling of the chair. They ignored that and completely disregarded their own rules. We have it on tape, and we just want to get testimonials from each person in this room that are Ron Paul supporters, so you can see we had the numbers, and they knew we had the numbers. They could not have even closed the discussion because it was they needed a 2/3 majority, and they didn't have it.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Sims. I am a delegate from District 1D, and I just wanted to take a moment to get a video recording of the people that are here in this room and get an official count of those who did not call aye, so it can be compared against the official roll for the meeting. Guys, if I can have everybody's attention, I'm going to turn the camera on y'all right now. Everyone who did not vote aye to close the meeting, please stay standing. I'm going to get everyone to sound off in counts of 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, so we can have an official number of people who did not vote to compare against the total number of people that were here on the roll for the day.
Jonathan, there's actually a few people that left.
Okay,
I know of at least 2, so
we will get their signatures as well, but for now we'll have this.
I'm sorry, one right here, so as you leave, after you say something, as you leave, just sign this right here, and then we'll have everyone's name and precinct to know, have an official count of how many people also on paper.
All right, we'll get this something as well. And I'll start off. 1, 2,
3,
4, 5,
6,
7, 8,
9,
10, 11, 12, 13, 14,
15,
16,
17, 18,
19,
20,
21.
All right, and that's 21 confirmed people on video who did not vote aye to be compared against the official roll for the day. Thanks.